Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Our next story is nothing short of a holiday miracle. For years, Ronald Fierro, a 73-year-old retired teacher from Brick, has brought joy to children as Santa Claus at the local mall. But earlier this year, a non-healing ulcer on his foot threatened not just his ability to play Santa, but his leg, and potentially his life. Thanks to the expert care and groundbreaking surgery at Hackensack Meridian Ocean University Medical Center, Ron is back on his feet, ready to spread holiday cheer. Joining us today is the vascular surgeon who led his treatment, Dr. Nicholas Russo, to share this incredible journey. Dr. Russo, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you? Good morning.
Well, it sounds like you saved Christmas for so many. Congratulations on that. Tell us how the journey with Ron began.
Ron is an incredible person. He showed up sometime around the end of April, and he had this wound already for 2 months. And under the care of his podiatrist, they had concerns about his blood flow to his foot and his ability to heal. So they did the right thing, and they sent him over to vascular in order to be evaluated. We did our non-invasive testing, which showed that he had severe disease in the lower leg, and the wound looked ischemic in nature, which is something that you can typically see just on physical exam. So typically in that scenario, we would schedule the patient for an angiogram, but Ron, being Ron and dedicated to his craft, he decided to postpone his first angio in order to go to a Santa Claus convention. And that's when I knew I had met a very, very special patient. So he subsequently came back, returned, did the angiogram. It showed that he had severe disease in his leg that was not amenable to a non-invasive approach. And so being a vascular surgeon allows us to tailor specific personalized treatment to the patients because we're capable of doing both non-invasive and invasive techniques. And for Ron's specific case, he required an open operation where we would have to bypass from the good vessels in his leg to the good vessels in his foot. And so that actually occurred in June. The surgery went fantastic. His cardiologist, his podiatrist, and the entire team got Ron ready and able to leave the hospital in just 3 short days. He did a brief stint at rehab, and a couple months later, he's back to walking on his feet without a cane, and everything's all healed up, and he's providing Christmas joy that I could never do.
Oh, you would make a good Santa doctor. I think so. Maybe not the dedication of Ron, and I'm so sorry he couldn't join us today. I know he was supposed to be here, but a lot of work happening at the North Pole right now, obviously. How much joy does this bring you, though, in your profession to give people positive outcomes like this?
That's a great question. So most patients, they pick and choose kind of what they want to listen to their doctor about, which is always one of the frustrating things in medicine. But Ron is so passionate about what he does. He listened to everything everyone told him. He did everything we asked of him, and he did all the work, really. He did an incredible job at going to rehab. He did an incredible job at listening to the wound care specialists. He did everything he was asked. And as a vascular surgeon, that's honestly the highest compliment I could ever receive.
Can you dive into, in layman's terms, why pedal bypass surgery was the best option for him?
Sure. So lots of arteries in the body. They go everywhere from the brain down to the toes. And in the leg, we have multiple branches. There's a main artery. It's called the superficial femoral artery. His artery was actually intact. Ron's problem was from the knee down. Those arteries are typically affected by diabetes, and diabetes is a leading cause of hurting those arteries. So he essentially had no significant what's called inline flow, meaning no continuous road. So it's as if we shut down the highway from the knee to his foot. And so in order to be able to get blood flow directly to his foot, we go around the blockages. And to do that, we use his own vein. And Ron was actually this was easy for me to explain to Ron because Ron had actually had coronary bypass in the past, which most people are familiar with, which is called a cabbage. And so Ron had already had a good idea of what it was going to take, and he was on board from day one.
Talk about the training that led you to where you are today.
So training in Albany was at times tough and very cold, right up there with the North Pole. And I was blessed to be trained by some of the best people to do vascular surgery. Ralph Clem Darling, Sean Roddy, Jeffrey Nath. There are Benjamin Chang. They are phenomenal teachers. They are excellent surgeons. And they instilled in me, don't give up attitude when it comes to this. And that's what you need to have to save a patient's leg. You have to really fight for their leg with them because it's grueling. You know, you have wounds that are sometimes large, you have pain, and you fight sometimes diabetes, you're fighting coronary disease, you're fighting all the different competing factors that led to the disease to begin with. And so trying to optimize the patient and getting them to stop smoking and getting them to do everything that you need to do is sometimes a daunting task. And Ron really genuinely made it easy. It was an absolute pleasure working with him, and it's great to be able to watch him do what he loves.
Absolutely. What is a special motto or piece of advice that you give to your other patients who might be delaying care or facing similar health challenges?
That is one of the best questions you could ever ask. So I am a firm believer in giving the patient all the options. I'm like a waiter, essentially. Give the patient all the options, inform them of what each option entails, and allow them to understand the positive and negative impact that they have with their choices. Because at the end of the day, you have to be on board yourself to want to be better, to want to get the care, and to want to have a successful outcome. So as a physician, I think the most important thing we can do is provide information. And I think sometimes some people can be busy and rushed and things like that. So I really put an emphasis on sitting down and taking time with the patients to go through every option and make sure you have every question answered so you can make the best decision for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the one that has to do the rehab work. I'm not the one that has to care for the wounds on a daily basis. I have to provide you with a great operation or an intervention, and I have to kind of set you free a little bit. So it's important for you to understand what that entails. And I think that's really the crux of good medicine, giving the patient all the options and allowing them to understand what they're in for.
Well, doctor, I can tell that you listen, and I just love the holistic approach that you take to your practice. And we thank you, and so do all the kids out there, for saving Christmas. Where can people find out more about you and your work?
So I work at Jersey Coast Vascular, 425 Jack Martin Boulevard and Ocean University Medical Center. I'm available 24/7 because that's what we do. And there's always somebody available to get in touch with us in the ER or in the office at any given time.
Well, doctor, thank you so much for your life-changing work, and wishing you and your family a joyful holiday season.
Thank you so much. It's been a blessing.
Up next, some holiday gift recommendations from our friends at the Hoboken Library.